And that's a little patch that I put the webbing over just a small little hole up in the ceiling. And at this point, before I put the next coat on, it's still drying and it's almost dry all the way. But even after it dries or just before it dries, got a little bit of mud that has peeked out through the webbing tape. And I can just gently knock that down, scrape it down just a little bit, not very much. But sometimes it has a tendency, when you're putting webbing tape on it, when you're covering a hole, it has a tendency to kind of come out just a little bit as it's drying. As it's drying, you can kind of push up on it a little bit, or just after it dries, just do that, because then you don't have to put on as thick of a coat over the next bit. Okay, sometimes that happens, and like if you're covering a wall switch box in a wall that you've taken wires out of that you want to patch, you can put the webbing tape over that. Just put overlap a double layer and then put the mud on there, and then as it's drying, push in on it just a little bit, and once it dries, it'll be almost like a piece of metal over it because it dries so hard. There's another tip for you. Now, is this ready to patch over? Yeah. I'll take my fingernail on here, kind of hit that, and it feels way drier than before. It still is wet somewhat. You can see where on the edges it's dry all the way. This other is not, all the moisture is not out of it yet, but as soon as this outside layer hardens up, you can cover it and it's not going to shrink either. So that's the additional beauty of the Quickset. Now, because that's still slightly drying, I'm going to end up starting down at that end, and I'm going to do all my little small patches first, okay, before getting up and doing that patch around that square, okay? And that'll give it just a few more minutes. It's not really going to take me very long to cover this. No. When I cover this, I can be assured that these nail holes are not going to show. Even though this says it's non-shrinking, when you put the first coat up, it has a tendency of making just a little indentation anyways, because you're filling up a little hole. Okay, you put the second little dusting on there like that, and magically the holes disappear. You can still see them, but as it dries, it's going to be nice for the next little bit. Now you could probably put all-purpose joint compound over those screw holes right now, but because I'm still using my Quickset, I'm just going to go ahead and put some more. Now that wasn't a nail hole, that was the actual webbing tape over that one hole, okay? So I'm just going to kind of go over that, get it smooth, and move on. I'm still using my small 3-inch knife. I don't need to use a 6-inch knife right now. I'm still able to use this because these patches are small enough. On the square, I'll end up using my 6-inch on that, you know, but not for these other little things. No. I can get by with the 3-inch or even the 4-inch for that matter. If I had a 4-inch, I don't have a 4-inch, I probably should get one of those. Next time I'm at the store, when I make my list of things to get, I should put that down. So on the screw holes, I can just wipe it on and wipe it off. You know, making sure I don't have any high edges. And that's where I put a little piece of webbing tape, so I want to make sure I get a nice even coat over the top of the tape. And I don't want to wipe too much off because I don't want that tape to show. Okay, and I can make the patch just a hair bigger. You want to make it a hair bigger because now the top edge is sticking down, and so you've got to make that bigger now to blend it in. You're tricking the eye again, remember? We always want to trick the eye because we get done, we don't want to see that patch. Okay, so once that dries, then I'll put all-purpose joint compound over that patch, taper it out even further. You won't see that at all. Now this is a little area where I put that webbing tape. I just want to go a little bit further on that and just go around it and make it just a hair wider around there. Even though the webbing tape isn't that far, is it? You get that wider. Then when I put the all-purpose joint compound on, I'll make it even wider, okay? And that's so that that is going to flow into the ceiling and it's going to trick the eye. You're not even going to see that. Had I just done just over the webbing tape and just a hair beyond that, I could get that as smooth as anything. But once you paint this up here, you're going to look up there, oh, there's the patch right there. But you see, we make that patch bigger. We're going to float that out. We're going to taper this back further. You got a ridge up there. Your paint will see that. Your shadow area will see that. And you'll see exactly where you patched. We don't want that now, do we?
No.
No, we don't.